In a rare move, former PM Datuk Seri Najib Razak in 2013 instructed the Ministry of Finance to issue a letter of support for 1MDB's $3 billion bond issue without the usually required due diligence. Ex-MOF Deputy Secretary General Datuk Siti Zawiya Mat Desa testified in High Court today. As such, Siti Zawiya says the Malaysian government has to bear the repayment of 1MDB's debt under the bond issue because the fund failed to repay its debt, which was undertaken to finance the development of the Tun Razak exchange. She told the High Court that this LOS was processed based solely on the then Prime Minister's instruction. Siti Zawiya says she received instructions to prepare the LOS via a letter dated January 15, 2013 from Najib. Goldman Sachs was the lead arranger for 1MDB's $3 billion bond issue then, according to her. She explained that the normal procedure for a LOS included due diligence that would take some time, as the process required feedback from companies concerned primarily about their operations and their financial statements. Once that was complete, the MOF would prepare a cabinet paper for the cabinet's approval, which, after obtaining it, the ministry's law department would then begin drafting a LOS. Looking back, Siti Zawiya says the MOF's stance was to issue a letter of comfort for the bond issue as a moral responsibility instead of a LOS, because the MOF did not intend to issue any form of guarantee by the government. She says the Wall Street Bank had requested that the proposed letter of comfort be changed to a LOS, which would hold the Malaysian government liable should 1MDB default on its repayment. She says Najib signed the LOS for the bond issuance on March 14, 2013. The boardroom tussle at Caely Holdings has intensified with the Extraordinary General Meeting Requisitionist claiming victory in removing 9 directors from the existing board on June 15th. This is despite Group EC Datuk Loh Ming Chun declaring that the EGM is adjourned pending final determination of the lawsuit in court. In a Bursa Malaysia filing today, the Perak-based lingerie firm said Loh had been advised by the group's legal advisor that the subject matter of the EGM was sub judice and that it could not lawfully continue with the EGM, which carries 12 resolutions. 3 shareholders who collectively hold at least a 10% stake in the group, namely Leong Seng Wee, Kok Kwang Lim and Valhalla Capital, made their first attempt to call for an EGM to remove the existing board members in February this year. On March 16th, Caely commenced a lawsuit at the KL High Court against the trio as well as 5 others in a challenge against their voting rights and the nomination of themselves or nominees at an AGM. 2 months later, on May 19th, the trio requested for another AGM to discuss various issues, including the removal of newly appointed Executive Chairman Wong Xiao Pui and 6 other existing directors. In supporting the decision to adjourn the EGM, Caely says the chairman forewarned that this meeting and the decisions that the members present are being asked to take this morning interfere with the relief sought at the KL High Court by the company and that members may find themselves in contempt of court. Separately, in a statement released on Wednesday contradicting the group's boss filing, claimed 4 new directors have been appointed to the board, namely Leong, who is also an executive director of Green Packet, Datuk Kang Ches Chiang, Ng Kyok Chai and Krishnan Doraraiju. The Requisitionist also cited the EGM adjournment as being invalid as it wasn't put to a vote and no injunction was obtained. Caely has been in the spotlight in the past 2 months after the MACC issued a freeze order on all of its bank accounts in April. Then on Monday, Caely announced that its auditor, Verdos Lima Consultancy, could not continue with its forensic audit as critical information was not available. AirAsia X will focus on medium-haul flights moving forward to ensure commercial viability as part of its strategy to swing the airline back to profit, according to Chief Executive Officer Benyamin Ismail. Aligned with this, Benyamin announced AAX's 7 new medium-haul routes, namely from Kuala Lumpur to New Delhi, Sydney, Seoul, Tokyo, Sapporo, and Osaka, as well as from Osaka to Honolulu, Hawaii. However, Benyamin says that the budget carrier has also plans for long-haul flights from Kuala Lumpur to London, Dubai and Istanbul. He notes that these new long-haul routes to Europe are exceptions to their medium-haul shift in focus, as it sees an opportunity to capitalize on rising pent-up demand as travel restrictions are lifted. Benyamin says that aside from London and Istanbul, AAX will not be adding more destinations in Europe. The airline was handed a lifeline after it garnered near-unanimous support from its creditors in the face of its 63.5 billion ringgit worth of debts, whereby it would only need to pay 0.5% of what it owed under the restructuring process. On the back of this, AAX returned to the black for the third quarter of FY22 with a net profit of 33.62 billion after writing back a similar amount back to profit. Excluding provision write-back, AAX logged a loss before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization of 6.08 million in the third quarter. However, Benjamin says that with the operating costs it cut after the restructuring process, the airline can return to profitability after its operations scale up and recover. He notes that AAX remains confident in returning to pre-COVID-19 pandemic capacity, but warns that it will take time as it waits for the market to open up. He says the internal projection has the airline returning to pre-COVID-19 capacity in 2 years. Benjamin says that AAX currently has 6 aircraft operating and plans to have 15 planes in service by end 2022, 5 in storage and are to undergo maintenance, repair and overhaul services, while the other 4 are to be acquired and added to its fleet. Ecoworld International posted a net loss of 67.35 million for the second quarter of FY22 versus a net profit of 11.3 million a year ago as revenue plunged. In its boss filing, EWI said the net loss was in line with its revenue for the quarter, falling 69.26% to 33.8 million from 107.56 million, owing to fewer units sold being handed over to customers as well as its share of losses in joint ventures. The developer said there had been a revision of profit margins on EW Ballymore projects and higher inventory holding costs as a result of a longer period of time taken for sales realization. In a statement, EWI said it is on track to achieve its 2 billion ringgit sales target for FY22 as its sales plus reserves as at May 31st, 2022 amounted to 1.53 billion, which is 52% higher than the 1.01 billion recorded for the same period last year. President and CEO Datuk Teo Leong Seng notes that the group's London City Island and Embassy Gardens projects continue to lead the sales performance, while its Australian projects saw a good uptick in demand. However, Teo said the selling prices for properties have not increased in tandem with the resurgence in demand over the last 7 months. But on the upside, Teo notes that rents in London, particularly at the EW Ballymore projects, have been on the rise due to their prime location, transport accessibility and excellent livability. Majaya Food, which operates the Starbucks and Kenny Rogers Roasters franchise in Malaysia, is set to announce a JV with international bakery operator Paris Baguette Singapore. According to a media invite, the JV signing ceremony is due to be held on June 20th at Berjaya Times Square Hotel. Paris Baguette is a French-inspired bakery brand that is operated by SPC Group, and it is the #1 bakery chain in South Korea. To date, there are 3,400 stores in South Korea and more than 440 locations across the United States, China, France, Vietnam, Indonesia, Cambodia, and Singapore. In April last year, SPC Group's top officials were reported to have discussed with Malaysian government officials, including Senior Minister and Minister of International Trade and Industry, Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali, on SPC Group's planned Malaysian investments, which include construction of production facilities and the launch of Paris Baguette bakeries in the country.